Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here on this absolutely gorgeous day. We are on the Royal Zenfield Classic 350. We're at the location of the, it says, site of the first train robbery in the West, committed by the notorious Jesse James and his gang of outlaws. And there's the date. Now, this is supposed to be the actual tracks, but the location was over the hill. So they unbolted the tracks, and then the train fell over. There's supposed to be a shipment of gold. Of course, the gold wasn't there, or so they say. Who knows what happened, right? Anyway, I've got about 1,300 miles on this bike that I've ridden. The bike itself has about 1,900 miles on it now, and I've put about 1,300 miles on it in the last couple weeks. Let's see what it says here. There we go. And I've just really had a ball at it. It's just been an incredibly entertaining and fun motorcycle to own and ride. One of the things, I'm going to talk about something bad right away, and that's the cleaning. It's black, and it takes a lot of effort to keep this thing clean. And to me, this is considered clean. I know a lot of you are going to think it's not, but I'd rather be riding, right? So I'll talk about the, at this location, I'm going to talk about the engine and the suspension. Next stop, we'll talk about the handling and some of its quirks. And then finally at the end, I'll tell you about some of the things that, you know, I wish were a little different, but I'm kind of happy with. You know, I can deal with it. So engine, this little 20 horsepower J engine is just a hoot. 348 cc's, I think. Single overhead cam, 2 valves, 5-speed transmission. The transmission on this bike, it just seems to get better by the day. You know, there's a shifter. One thing I was asked about is I got these bigger foot pegs on here. Has that made it harder? My answer is I thought it would initially, and I'm thinking about getting a heel shifter. I was thinking about it. It's become a non-issue at this point. Back to the transmission. It just seems to get smoother by the day. And my thoughts on that are it's wearing in, and I'm actually getting used to it. You know, there's little idiosyncrasies that every single tranny has, and I think I'm getting those kind of built into my system as well. So this is just a beautiful Royal Enfield makes great transmissions. That's all I got to say about that, at least for the modern ones. But suspension. This is really an important one. It's got a simple suspension. It's very simple, but it works very well. And that's, I was thinking about that the other day. It works incredibly well 85% of the time. It works very good 95% of the time. And that other 5% of the time is you get yourself stuck in a bad road somewhere, and it just, you kind of get the thumping, you know. So I think all my bikes do that to a degree, and this is no exception. What could you do about it? I'm actually gonna, when I go to Baxter's next week, I'm gonna lower the, have them turn the shocks down a little bit if it's possible. Shortcomings with the suspension, like I said, is it works pretty, it's a simple suspension, works very well. Non-adjustable. I like the fact that it's covered. It's a 41 millimeter tube, and I think the play is 5.1 inches of travel. That's about 130 millimeters. And I think the back is 4 inches of travel with, that's about 102 millimeters, if I got that right. All right, our next stop. I put about 180 miles on this thing yesterday, and my goal today is just to go out and have fun and see, you know, another 150 miles today. I'm also trying to keep it under 60 miles an hour, and there's a real value to that, and we'll talk about that later. But all right, let's keep on rolling. Wahoo! Here again, we are at Menlo, Iowa. That is Captain Menlo, we call him. Looks like he's been repainted. There's the Hot Rod Himalayan. This is kind of an old abandoned gas station that's become a local landmark. I said I'd talk about the handling at this stop. And so I'll start with the garage. First off, if I seem kind of sedate, it's because I'm very relaxed. It's the Zen field, you know, very relaxing riding. Been staying between 50 and 60 miles an hour. Got 69 miles a gallon on this tank of gas, 69 and change, which is very good for me. I weigh about 220 pounds in the morning. And anyway, so pretty darn good. So handling in the garage, and this is really important because I think it's one of the key attributes of this bike worth considering. The thing is easy to push around. It turns lock to lock a tremendous amount, you know, and it's very low center of gravity, and it just moves around. When I'm in my garage, I want to push a bike out. This is the easiest one to get. I just hop on it and I roll it out the back, you know, I turn it around in the driveway and away I go. It's like a puppy dog. I've said that before. It's just right there, wants to go do something with you. And then, so stepping up from there, going around town, It's a beautiful town bike. It's a very playful puppy dog in town. It's just a whole bunch of fun. It just does everything really well that way. Handles well, handles very light, handles very easy. It just kind of does everything you want to do, you know. That's its second greatest attribute. It's just a fabulous town bike. Now here's where it gets really good. When you get on the highway, stay off the interstate, but when you get on the highway, it just becomes, especially between 50 and 60 miles an hour. My good friend Gary, who has one of these, he's always talking about that. And today, the last 2 days, I've been experimenting with that. You know, it's just a very enjoyable, relaxing. You get off the bike, like right now, you get off the bike and you just feel ultra comfortable. I like it. I like it. So into the winds, the arch enemies of this bike are hills and winds. So if a hill is a nemesis, the arch enemy is the wind. I'd say headwind, a headwind. Like today, well, it doesn't seem windy right now, but we had about a 10-mile-an-hour headwind, and I was going in from the south, and I was going into a lot of that, and I could still go 50, 55 pretty easily. Going uphill, I'd slow down to about 55, I suppose, or 50. If the wind was any stronger than that, and you're going into it, it really plays on your speed. But the bike's got lots of torque, so it does really well. Two up, I haven't ridden anybody two up on it yet. I'm told that it has so much low end torque. You know, the torque really is right at the bottom. It's got a long stroke and an itty bitty, you know, smaller piston, long stroke. So it really has torque literally from the bottom. So I'm told that with a passenger, it operates very well. I said I'd talk about the bits and pieces that I like about this, kind of the quirks or whatever you want to call it. I want to start by saying I love the hand grips. I just love these hand grips. They're just fabulous, you know. Just they're barrel shaped. They're hard, but yet they're soft. They're just an enjoyable thing to hang on to. And then next to that, I would say, is these levers. You know, Infield has done a great job designing these levers. They've got a good sweep. They're very comfortable. They've got rounded edges. They just, you know, they look good. They actually look good. So I would say those are a couple of things that I really like. Next to that, I'd say I love these foot pegs. I love where they're located, for one thing. And then the fact that we've got these wider ones on there. Where they're located is very nice. I'm 5'8", and very, very good for me. I've got a 30-inch inseam, by the way. You know, I like these little tank pads and the way this looks. I just love all that. And then the seat. I'm really growing to love this seat. I did 168 miles or something like that, 170 miles yesterday. It was a firm experience. I'm not sure how far I've gone today, but maybe 80 miles. Speaking of that, the Freedom Rock is just down the road here, and that's where we were going to stop. Memorial Day is just a couple days away, and the guy's over there working on that. Iowa Freedom Rock. Google that and check it out. I'll put some pictures of that up here right now. But we were going to stop there and do it, but he was working away, and I didn't want to bother him. I did have a very nice chat with him. That Freedom Rock's been going on for 25 years. He paints it every year. He repaints it, that particular one over by Greenfield. And so every year it's a different thing, except for the helicopter. The helicopter always stays the same because there's ashes for 130 veterans in that. The other thing is every Iowa county has a Freedom Rock that he's painted. There's also 3 in Missouri, 5 in Minnesota. Some out, I think he's going to do one in Washington State and one in Texas next year. Worth a Google. All right, y'all. Next stop, I'm going to tell you what's wrong with this bike. I'm going to tell you about the big problems. I'm going to give you a clue right now. It's all kind of in here. All right, y'all. I'll catch you a bit. Wahoo. Back again, my friends, but look where we are at. This Nations Bridge Park, something like that, Nation Bridges Park. We're on a boat dock right now, or boat ramp. Kind of cool. You know, that's one of the neat things about this bike is I drove it, you know, anyway, got it back down here. Now at this stop, I promise you I'd tell you what was wrong with this bike. There isn't really anything wrong with this bike. There's just things that you either like or you don't like. And it's all right here. So something that a bad habit this bike has is the mirrors. The mirrors vibrate. They don't vibrate at low speeds, they vibrate at high speeds. You get over 55, I'd say, they start to give that real quiver. At 50, they're actually quite good. By 60, they're really shaking. Next thing would be the dash. What I like and love about this dash, or what I like about this dash, is also what I dislike about it. I also like it. So when you're sitting on this motorcycle, let me get on it, and riding down the road, you really don't see the dash. That's one of the gripes I have about that. Now, that's also one of the pluses of this motorcycle because you're not bothered by that. You're not, you don't have to deal with that nonsense. You don't have to look at it. And this bike only goes, 65, 70, so it's really not a big deal. And you can tell by ear, when you get to 60, you're going 60 really. So that's really not a big deal in that sense. On the other side of that is, I like to be able to look at my speedometer and see it. So it's nice to be able to have that, option. When I wear my full face helmet, I have to literally tilt my head down to look at this. Today I'm wearing my half helmet, my crash helmet. I call this my crash helmet because I was in a crash. This helmet saved me a lot of grief, guys. When I wear that helmet, it's not a big issue. I can just look down with my eyes and read the dash. I wish the blinkers, if they left this the way it is right now, I wish the blinkers were up higher, because right now the blinkers are down low. But I wish the blinkers were up higher, so you know, you would catch them. You know, you'll be out, you hit your blinkers, you forget to turn them off, you will be driving along, you'll notice them on. You know, if they're up higher, you're more likely to notice them sooner. So other things that I would say this bike could be improved on this bike, nothing. I really love it. I was going to tell you that it needed a bigger gas tank. That seems to be one of the perpetual gripes I have with motorcycles, but when ridden at 60 miles or below, it actually gets, you know, I just got 69 miles a gallon. The brakes are excellent. The bike is incredible. Okay, so what do I like about the bike? Number one, it's incredibly well behaved, very well mannered motorcycle, which makes it a joy to own. It's good looking. That's why I bought it. I like the way it looks. It has, it's just got good manners in a garage, around town, on the highway. So that's, you know, basically the number one thing. Another thing I like about it is it's a cheap motorcycle to own. There's very little maintenance. Nothing is hidden. In order to do the valves, you just pop this tank off and there's the valve cover right there. There's only 2 valves. You can do it, you know, you can probably do the valves. I haven't done them yet on this bike, but on my Himalayan I can do the valves in an oil change in 45 minutes. And then the initial entry cost. This bike with the accessories, I think it was can't remember, $4,500. I got $1,000 off because this was a demo bike. And by the way, Baxter's just got 4 more of those. Baxtercycle.com. They just got 4 more of those demo bikes in. So if you want one of those, get a hold of those guys. Ask for Jeremy or Mark. Also the accessories. I love the accessories. If you want any of those, get a hold of Baxtercycle.com. They ship everywhere. And by the way, they ship motorcycles nationwide, all over the country. Give those guys a call if you're looking for one of these things. No, beautiful bike. Love the way it looks. Well-mannered, efficient, easy to own, and it's got the zen factor. The calming zen factor, you know. Hey, life is good. If the weather's nice where you're at, get out and ride. Wahoo!